What makes a good YouTube thumbnail? In this video, I'm going to answer that question, showing you how good thumbnails are put together, particularly to show you what you need to pay attention to in order to make a good YouTube thumbnail. Now, I'm going to be accessing quite a number of thumbnails in order for us to have this conversation. I'll actually put thumbnails right in your front, and I'm going to ensure that I'm not using big channels. I'm going to use maybe 1 or 2 or 3 big channels, but many of the other channels I'm going to be using are going to be small channels, that is channels that are fairly kind of new or have low subscribers. Now, there are going to be a couple of things that we are going to pay attention to. Number one of them is going to be we are going to pay attention to branding. We are going to pay attention to consistency. And then number 3, we are going to pay attention to the ability for it to stand out. And then number 4 is going to be inviting, that is, invites you to click. So based on these 4 parameters, that's number 1 here, number 2, consistency, number 3, the ability to stand out, and number 4, inviting people to watch the video. Those are going to be the parameters I'm going to use to explain what makes a good YouTube thumbnail. So let's start with this channel here, and if you observe, you will notice that the views on the videos tend to be consistent. There seem to be 1K, 1K, 1K here, and then another 1K here. This one has 2.5K, this one has 1.5K, this one has 1.1K, and this one has 1.1K, which means that people are watching. Now, I may not know the back end, okay, but from the front end, it shows that people are watching, people are clicking, and people are trying to watch the video. If somebody is going to decide to watch a video, the first thing that makes them to decide that is the thumbnail. And if you don't create a good thumbnail, particularly a thumbnail that has these parameters in place, that is a thumbnail that has your branding, a thumbnail that is consistent, that is the theme is consistent. So that's what I mean by consistency. The theme is consistent, and then the thumbnail is able to stand out. That is, it's not just a thumbnail that just gets buried away in the sea of videos that are available on YouTube. And number 4 is the thumbnail invites you to want to check out what is in the video. Of course, it is when people click a video that they are going to watch. It is when they watch that they are going to decide whether to stay to the end, but it starts with the thumbnail. So let's look at what makes a good YouTube thumbnail. First thing you'll notice with this particular channel is the consistency that they have in the thumbnail. So you find that at this corner here, you see that at this part here, you see that this was their first channel, and they are using a particular element, which I would like to point your attention to here, and the element tends to be arrows. So you find this channel is using a lot of arrows. So this channel is using a lot of arrows, and then they are also using bold fonts. So they are using bold fonts, and they are using just 2 or 3 colors. So they are using just 2 or 3 colors, which is very good for branding's sake. It's good for consistency's sake. It's also good for inviting people to want to watch. Particularly, the part that invites people to watch is not just the title. So if you want to compare the title with the thumbnail, let's look at that. So you find that here it says how to write a killer Facebook ad copy. Perhaps maybe what was taught in the video is something about 7 steps or 7 secrets. So you see they put here, write killer magnetic ad copy, and then they say 7-step, that is 7-step secret, convert more. This word here and this one here invites you to want to check out the video. If you notice, this kind of branding is predominantly text, and you can see the video is 30 minutes. Wow, that's very long, which means that even if somebody jumps in to watch the video, they will spend more time watching that video, which is an advantage. Again, you also notice here in this second thumbnail here, it says sales call agenda, setting an objection handling. And you can see it says role play and training. It says agenda setting, how to start a sales call. Now observe that the thumbnails kind of have a little different title from, or the words of the thumbnail seem to be a little different from what the original title of the videos may be, which is very, very powerful. Now that's not something I have been doing, but I've learned that it's something you can always do. So if you observe here, perhaps that could be the reason why a lot of people are watching the video. So you see WhatsApp marketing strategy here, as you can see here, WhatsApp marketing strategy here, and you see it says WhatsApp for real estate, and it says sell more. So you can see here that when it comes to these 4 parameters of branding, this particular channel has that. Consistency, all the thumbnails look alike. Standout, of course, it kind of pops. They use a color that it doesn't get buried into YouTube. And then inviting, of course, more leads and sales. Even this fire here, this fire here is very, very inviting. Shows hot secret hacks. Let's look at another channel here, and again we are going to check each channel based on consistency, branding, ability to stand out, and inviting. You observe with this channel here, what do you observe? Number 1, you find that it says terminating struggles, and the title of the thumbnail is still terminating struggles. So how to live a sickness-free life, and the thumbnail here is still how to live a sickness-free life, 7. So the question becomes, what is the meaning of this 7? If you have not been following it, you may not know that it's a series, because based on what I'm looking at here, it appears this is a series. So if you have not been following and you just see one thumbnail, you may not be able to quickly identify that. So one thing you can do with the thumbnails is basically to design in such a way that shows that this is a number so of the series. So it could be maybe series, but I saw a channel recently, and that channel was running a series, and the way they designed it with the thumbnail, it was very, very interesting to the eyes. I actually loved how they designed the thumbnail. So this may be something you may work on. So when it comes to branding, there's the element of branding here. This particular channel is using this logo. You can see this logo is different from this logo, so maybe there's some elements there that we need to pay attention to. This logo is here, this logo is here, this logo is here. Now, logo does not mean branding. Logo just means you are just associating your channel with a particular logo. Okay, from these thumbnails here, you see that the thumbnails seem to have, now there's a red bull here. This one here does not have any thumbnail. I guess this thumbnail was from maybe a screenshot, a part from the video that YouTube decided to pick on. So maybe that's just what they used. Thumbnails look interesting. Particularly, I like the consistency of the font. I like the consistency of the colors. I like the fact that there's a way the background is light compared to the foreground. That is, there's someone at the back end, there's something at the front end. Now, one of the things that may not be very, very helpful for this particular channel is the fact that the pictures are the same. Here the picture is different here, and here this is the same, this is the same, this is the same, this is the same, this is the same. So the question then becomes, is it like they wore the same clothes throughout all the videos? Do you understand that? So sometimes you may want to have many pictures that you want to use for thumbnails and just shuffle them together one after the other. Let's move forward to another thumbnail, to another channel. Now this is another channel here, and this is also not a big YouTuber anyway, but you can see here that from this channel everything seems to be scattered. So this thumbnail here is different from this one here. In fact, even the texts on the thumbnails are kind of different from each other. So all this one, this one, this one here, this one here, this one here, and this one here, even this one here, they seem to have the same font. So why did this font here, why does this particular one, why did it change? This particular font, why did it change? Elevator baby. But of course, it may be that the person who designed the thumbnail is trying to use, since it's a full movie, so it may be that they are using the design of the movie itself. But then while the branding and the standing out, the ability to stand out is not very visible with this channel, one thing you will observe with this channel is that when it comes to the facial expression of inviting someone in to want to watch, this channel has that. So for example, if you check this video, this particular thumbnail here, you see that you wonder, what is this one, what is this one, and what is this one? So you watch me recreate my quick makeup routine, and that becomes interesting. You want to see, okay, so there's a progression, so it goes from here up here. And then for this blood and water season 2, there's dancing, so it shows excitement, and this is star, which also shows review. And if you look at this one here, you see that this kind of has different thumbnail style. Now I'm going to pick on this one particularly, this one here, how to grow Instagram account organically. So you see how to grow Instagram account organically, and the thumbnail simply shows Instagram 2020 hack, and it shows a face, perhaps maybe a face that is surprising, or it may be a screenshot from the video, but it looks more interesting because you are showing the result of what you are talking about. You are showing the gaining followers, Instagram. However, for reasons known to this person, this color would have been a different color so that it doesn't blend into the background of the shirt. Do you get it now? So that is that for that particular thumbnail. Let's see if there are any other thumbnails that I can also utilize here. So this one, how to add the highlights. In fact, I personally watched this one and I found it very helpful for me to create highlights for my own channel. So you can see how to set highlights for Instagram account, and you can see a screenshot of what highlights are, and you can see the person who is in the video. So you see this one here does look good. If we check by the standards of branding, consistency, standing out, and inviting, this channel has a lot to invite people in. It is trying to do well with branding by following the same consistent font, but when it comes to standing out, the colors are kind of blended into the background such that you might not instantly spot the videos. You might not instantly spot the difference, unlike this first channel here. Now, no two channels are the same on YouTube, so that's very important to note. Now let's move on to another channel that I found. While I don't know what the owner of the channel is trying to do, but there seems to be some element of consistency here, because you find that almost all the thumbnails are the same until these two. So you find that these two here seem to have the only different type of thumbnail. Of course, this one shows that this one is coming from the video, the screenshot is coming from the video. This one shows that the person is trying to do something differently, but almost all others have. While consistency is something that this channel, these thumbnails have, the disadvantage of this is that it can become monotonous when you repeat the same thumbnail style back to back, and there is no change or there's no difference in how it looks. Now, one of the things when it comes to standing out, this red may kind of be interesting to the eyes. If there was a mix of another color, that might be a lot more interesting. Maybe a mix of a different color apart from red as part of that background. Now, if you want your thumbnail to stand out on YouTube, one of the things you should always try to do is to stay away from the red color of YouTube. So here's what I mean. So look at the button of YouTube subscribe here. You see that it's red. Compare that to this. You see that it's almost the same red. So it means that somehow the color of these thumbnails may be blended so much into YouTube, especially for people who are using dark mode. They might not even instantly spot the thumbnail. So that's something you want to look at there. So this channel is doing very well with the thumbnails. The thumbnails are looking good, very interesting, but there seems to be a lot of repetition. Somehow it also shows that the thumbnails are kind of lazy. And by lazy, it means it's simply just copying everything on the title and repeating that for the thumbnail, which may not be an effective practice. It might not be an effective practice for someone who wants to get people to watch the video. So when it comes to branding, very good. When it comes to inviting, the thumbnails are not as inviting. Unlike this one here is even a lot more inviting. If you had made this picture bolder and written text on it, this would have been a lot more inviting, because you want to know what will you do differently, and you are eating something in your mouth. Even this one here, looks inviting, because you are kind of wondering what's he trying to say. And of course, he may have even cut off the background, just like this previous channel did, taking off the background and putting something else behind that. So you may also want to consider that. When it comes to consistency, this is consistent, or the consistency can be monotonous, such that you feel like you are saying the same thing every now and then. And then when it comes to inviting, only these two thumbnails are inviting. Only these two thumbnails here. This one here, let me change my pen. So only these two thumbnails here are inviting. Only this one and this one. All others seem to be just the regular thumbnail that we see everywhere. Okay, so let's look at a big channel here, and so that you'll understand, sometimes big channels don't even do the interesting things that you would think that they should know. So let's start with this particular channel here. Now, first thing first is that this person is a movie producer. So this particular person will have the advantage of being a movie producer in order to get people to come over to their channel and watch plenty of their movies. So if you check, you notice that what this channel does seem to look like movies. So there is movie here. This is a movie. This is a movie. This is a movie. This looks like a movie. This looks like, okay, this looks like a meeting, because the thumbnail here shows that it is, this one shows that it is a meeting, perhaps maybe a Zoom meeting. And this one is Instagram Live. This is a movie. This is a movie as well. So what does that tell you? Now, movies or movie channels tend to have a lot of watch time, because people are watching movie just like you will normally watch a movie on TV or even on Netflix or any place where you watch movies. What I want you to observe here is this thumbnail here, this one here. If you check this, as at when I took this screenshot, this was released 3 hours ago and it already has 3.8k views. Now the thing is, if you notice, they had to snap the picture. They had to snap the picture for the thumbnail. So it's not like the thumbnail was an extract from the video. So do you see that? So they went extra length to ensure that they created a picture for this title, for this thumbnail. Now, from what I'm looking at here, this gives me an idea that it will be maybe a talk show. This will most likely be a talk show. This will most likely be a talk show, and that is very okay if you run a channel where you want your channel to be a media house. And when I say a media house, what I'm referring to is you are creating a channel that has different elements to it, such that some people will come for the talk show, some people will come for the movies, and some people will come for the personality. Okay, so for this, you see that this one here, this is a movie, and there's no title. Maybe this is the main character of the movie, though. Maybe this is the main character of the movie, I don't know. So moving to the other side, let's look at this thumbnail here. You see that this one here, Wale and Iyanu Olukoju review on the train, and you see it's only 3.3k views. The thumbnail is kind of dry, so this shows that this is a screenshot from the video, while this was only added on it. Or maybe it was even how they edited the video and this was a screenshot from the video. But if you look at this here, this shows a thumbnail that is square. Then they know how to fade the background. They are now to put faded background here. So they know how to put faded background here in order for the, but you can see it still gets the job done. It has 45k views. Now look, moving forward, this is a very interesting thumbnail. I like this one very much, because this one brings to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, one of the things you want to always do as well is, no matter what you are creating your content on, whatever your content is, always ensure that you have a theme around your thumbnails. Your theme could be looking professional. Your theme could be looking fun. Your theme could be, so in this case, this guy here tends to want to put out the thumbnail view of professional. So this one wants to look professional. That's the vibe that these thumbnails want to communicate. And the professionals seem to just be straight jacketed, so there's no flexibility with the professionality. And this one here seems to show fun as what this channel seems to. Well, that's because of the varied topics that this channel covers. But you can see that from the way the thumbnails look, there's the element of fun that you can see as a theme, as from here you can see that this one is looking more of a this is a religious content. So you see that this seems to be religious content. So you can see how to live sickness-free life, maximizing the night, and thriving in times of crisis. Those are. But if you look at here, this one shows somebody. This kind of bunch of thumbnails kind of appears strategic, or should I say tactical, or I should say tactical. I think that's what I'll call this. So this tends to look tactical. So let's move forward from there and let's look at the other thumbnails. So you see, even though this channel is big, 239k subscribers, it doesn't mean that they have everything put together. Now let's look at this other channel here, and this particular channel here, this one here. What do you notice based on what I've said so far? Now on branding, the branding is very interesting. So you see that there's one branding here. This is one, this is two, and this is a different branding. Well, you know why? Because they kind of release their videos in series. So they run series. So that's what they do. Now when it comes to branding, you can see that the branding is kind of good. Consistency, there's a consistent element running through all the videos. So here you see that this is the skinny girl in transit, this is it, another, this is it again. Though the pictures change, you remember what I said about pictures changing? The pictures are changing, so the pictures are not the same thing. And here you can see this is the thumbnail here. It looks completely different from every other one. So even though there is a consistency, there's also the element of not just following a particular route. Here you notice here it is green, here it is pink, but you notice that there's the gradient element found in almost all the thumbnails, which is something you should also consider. Now for these faces, you can see here that this person is different, this is different, and this is different. Perhaps maybe this was the introduction. Okay, you can see official trailer. So with the introduction, they introduced everybody, and then they now began to focus on one person per time. So when it comes to inviting, it's not as inviting. That is, you see the thumbnail, you want to say, I want to watch that. It is not instantly inviting. But when it comes to branding, consistency, and the ability to stand out, these thumbnails stand out. They get the job done. So that's what I wanted to observe there. Now let's look at a very big channel, and this is a comedy channel, which means entertainment. So now people have different responses to entertainment, okay, but what I wanted to observe here is the fact that even if this is a comedy channel, the comedy channel, by the way, I've listened to the guy who has the channel, Archangel himself. I've listened to him talk about YouTube and trying to teach people YouTube. In fact, one of the things he said when I was listening to him was that at first, he didn't understand that thumbnails were very, very important on YouTube, but later he understood, and since he understood that, he has constantly ensured that their videos have thumbnails. If a big channel could be saying that thumbnails are important, what could you be doing? Also, get thumbnails active on your own channel as well. So what do I want you to observe with the thumbnails of this channel? Well, one of the things you notice is that they are using text. So they use text. So you notice that they use text. They use action shots. Action shots. What does text mean? Text means that they write something. So here they say maths teacher. Now this is maths teacher part 3. Respect yourself. So they simply write respect yourself. Good luck, and they simply write good luck. Action shots simply mean caught in the act, like a shot that shows somebody doing something. And the way to get these action shots, sometimes you don't necessarily need to snap extra. You can just take multiple screenshots from your video editing software and then take them into your design software and then find a way to match them together in such a way that they now become very, very interesting. So you see that this is an action shot. This must have been a screenshot. This is two different people. This is one, this is two, this is two different shots. This is one shot, this is another shot, and they blended them together nicely here. And for this part, you can see this is also an action shot. I believe that's a screenshot. This one, this is a different shot, this is another shot, and this is another one, and they simply match them together to create a single thumbnail. Now this one is the part that did not do any special work. And look at this one. This one here, this is this guy talking in the studio or in the office. This is another guy here, and these are this is one person and this is another person. So you see here there's a combination of 4 shots, and then they now put a text to show the title. And as you can see here, as I was saying about series the other time, look at what they did here. They simply put a text saying part 1. So it means if you see that, you will know that this is part 1, and so you want to watch out for part 2. Are you getting the idea here? So those are some of the things that you want to pay attention to when you are creating your thumbnails. Now, on the level of branding, there's the branding aspect of the thumbnails. So you notice that the branding, now when it comes to branding, sometimes the branding could be logo, sometimes the branding doesn't necessarily need to be logo, it simply needs to be a theme. Now the theme of this channel, if you pay attention here, there seems to be fun, seems to be the theme for this channel. So you see fun and maybe dramatic. Maybe dramatic should be another theme that you see with this channel. So you see that this looks dramatic, this looks dramatic, this guy here looks dramatic. So it could be that dramatic will be something you want to do. But when it comes to the level of consistency, there's a consistency that you find within the thumbnails. When it comes to standing out, of course, because you are seeing somebody doing something, it is standing out as well as inviting. Now this particular thumbnail here, this one here is not inviting, unlike this one here. This one is more inviting, this one is more inviting, this one is also more inviting, this one here is not as inviting. I hope you are getting this right now. So those are some of the things you want to also look at. Now let's look at another channel, a big channel as well. Now for this one, this particular channel creates short videos. So it means that the short videos, one person may watch one video 3 times before fully living the experience out. And so with this channel, what you find is that they have their branding consistently done. And I love the way this channel approaches their thumbnail. So it may be that they took a screenshot from the video. This may be a screenshot from the video. This may be a screenshot from the animation. Of course, this one already shows action shots. You remember I just spoke about action shot. So this is a different video. This is a different shot. This is a different shot. And they simply matched them together. Now, if you observe, this is the only thumbnail here that looks different. All others seem to have this text, a bar behind it, a picture, and then a logo. So you want to, if you pay attention, you will notice that the consistency is there. There is a consistent element with each of their thumbnails. Now for this one here, this one about how to wash your hands is different, and maybe that's why this is also different. So maybe they are trying to do something. I didn't watch the videos deliberately so that the videos don't influence the idea of the thumbnails. But right from the get-go, you can see here that what do you see with these thumbnails? You can see kids. That's what you observe with these thumbnails. It looks kids, it looks comedy, or let me just say fun. Let me just say fun, kids and fun. Those are the 2 things that I'm observing with these thumbnails. Now there's action shots, like this is an action shot, like this is an action shot as well. And this one here simply invites you to the back to the back space, this backyard here. That's what this one invites you to see. And you can see that this looks interesting. Now the thing is, are they performing? It looks like they are. At least here you can see, at least here you can see 90k, 69k, 40k, 169k. So it looks like they are performing. So that's another thing to pay attention to there. Now the last channel that we'll consider is also another comedy channel. So let's consider the 4 parameters again. Number 1, what do you notice with the thumbnails? There is a particular character. This person, this character seems to be everywhere. So it shows that this may be built around a character. This may be a thumbnail or a channel that's built around a particular character. So you can see the character in almost all of the thumbnails. That's number 1. Does that signify branding? Yes. Does that show consistency? Yes. Does these thumbnails, do they have the ability to stand out? Well, somehow, if you are used to their thumbnails, if you're already somebody who watches that video, I've seen the video before, the moment you sight the thumbnail, you instantly know it's coming from this person. Why? Because there's a character and there's a branding that is consistent. Now, the standing out, that is, does it stand out from the platform? That is nothing visible with these thumbnails. But you know the interesting thing with these thumbnails, the last 3 channels, or the last 2, 3, 4 channels that I just reviewed here now, many of their videos go into trending almost every week. So they may be doing something right that we may want to learn from. Now, when it comes to inviting, thumbnails may not be particularly inviting, but they get the job done. If you look at the thumbnails, based on the thumbnails, without seeing the name of the channel, based on the thumbnails, you most likely say the thumbnail is about drama. The thumbnails convey the idea of drama and fun. Those are the 2 things that you'll observe with the thumbnails. So I needed to share this with you so that you can understand that your thumbnails are an important element of your YouTube journey, and the earlier you take your thumbnail seriously, the better it is for you. So with what you have learned in this video, I hope that you'll be able to put them to practice. Anytime you want to create your thumbnail, ask the question. Number 1 is, am I branding my thumbnails to reflect the channel? Number 2, do the thumbnails have consistency? Is there a consistent theme? Not necessarily consistent icons, not necessarily consistency of arrangement. Do the thumbnail have an overall consistency, like a theme that is representing what you want people to know you for? And then number 3, do these thumbnails stand out? That is, if this thumbnail is found maybe in suggested video, or maybe, you know, when you are watching a video on YouTube, underneath the video there are other videos that are suggested. If you see the thumbnail, will you instantly click that thumbnail? And then the 4th thing is, does that thumbnail invite you to want to watch the video? If you can answer these 4 questions, the question of branding, the question of consistency, the question of standing out, the question of inviting, once you can answer those 4 questions, you have a deal with your thumbnail. I hope this is helpful. I'm going to see you in the next video, and I know that this recording is a little different from what I used to do, but I had to do it anyway. Hopefully it's helpful to you. Let me know if it does. I'll see you next time.